And here we go. So today is March the 28th, and we are on the book Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell. And we're using this edition of the book. There's two editions. It's March 28th, as I said, 2016, and today's chapter is chapter 6, Law of Increase. And wow, this chapter really is about praise. So, Angela, feel free to chime in anytime, and a few others that are calling in and listening in. But this book, uh, without exception, you can just read so many times. And Law of Increase is really about the law of praise. And it starts out saying, "Let everything that hath breath praise the Lord," which is like praising the law, because the laws are very precise, and the laws are the spiritual laws, and therefore praise the Lord, praise the law. And so it starts out talking about Aladdin and the lamp and the magic lamp and rubbing it, and the genie comes out and all this kind of thing. And I thought that was a really cute story. But at the end of that, it was saying that we really do have that Aladdin's lamp, and what it is just the law, and it's just understanding that the law is praise. And how exciting is that? And so I kind of had a challenging week this past week, and there were some things that happened. It kind of set me off course a little bit, and I was in somewhat of a fear mode. And within that fear mode, I got lost in that briefly, and I didn't quite feel settled about it. And it was over something that I am desiring to take place, but then some people kind of came out of nowhere wanting to block some things that I legally had some rights to. And it just was really weird, and it set me back. And today I had a fabulous conversation with a friend who really is a big practitioner of the laws and puts them into practice every day. And we just had to give praise for whatever happens, no matter what is perceived at that moment, whether it feels like, how could I have attracted this, or this is not going the way I want, and how did I bring this upon myself? Because as we all know, everything that happens in our life, we've invited. So we aren't victims. We completely have the power to control all things. However, we also make agreements with all things that are being received, whether they are good or bad, whether it's subconscious or consciously. It is for us now to look at that and give praise to it, but also have an awareness of, what was it about that I attracted, and what is the teacher here? What is the lesson? And so what my lesson I learned today, and I just kind of had this breakthrough, that it was fear. And when someone was actually about to withhold from me a transaction that I had a legal right to, it set me in a state of fear, because in my mind I needed the money from this transaction, and it was the sale of a condominium that I own, and it just set me in a place of fear. But then I realized apparently this person had a place of fear too, and that we were both attracting the same thing. When I had that awareness, I started praising it. It's like, wow, just let me give praise to, first of all, understanding and wisdom, and let me give praise to the fact that nothing can stop the excitement that I feel for my condo being sold, and all the joy that represented. And I really just got back into celebrating that which I desired, and that's what this was about. Angela, did you want to make any comments so far about just the general belief of praise, and how the start of this chapter talks about, sacrificing, like back in the Bible, in the biblical days, in the ancient times, whatever your belief is, where they sacrificed things, but then they praised. They marched around the walls of Jericho praising, and then the walls fell down. And there's just always this uplifting of vibration through praise, and through that, what is desired then becomes what is reflected back to us for what we want. It's assuming the excitement up front. And so, Angela, did you want to comment, or did you just want to listen in and watch tonight and listen? I love your feedback.
I'm actually enjoying what you're saying, so just preach.
Preach it. So this was quite a lesson, so that always to remember that the way that we deal with increase, the way that we receive, truly has to do with us being able to lift up and unconsciously touch the law and gain its blessing, because our efforts, our prayer and asking and pleading, and none of that changes anything. In fact, we're not really asking what we are desiring, and the purpose of prayer is not so much to ask. And because whatever is in our hearts, ask and it is given, it is already received. It is received at that moment. It's just somewhere in that process we demagnetize the request and we don't assume the feeling. So we've kind of confused the matrix, that divine space, God, source, supply, whatever title you want to give it, because we honor all things. And so it just takes me back to that chapter again. It just kind of can keep referencing the Bible if you want, or any other spiritual laws. But I especially have always loved that if one has faith as a grain of mustard seed, he can move mountains. And so to realize that that is truly that power of praise, and that praise is complementary to faith. And whereas faith is wisdom and understanding, praise is the application of that understanding. So praise is the application of that understanding. And I just suggest maybe that everybody write that down, because I believe that's very powerful, that praise is the application of the understanding of faith, if you even want to add of faith. And looks like we have someone else. Is that Chris who's joining us?
Hey, I made it.
Hello, Chris. We're happy
Hello.
you're listening in. So we're recording and got started. We have Angela on the line as well. She's calling in.
Awesome. Hey, Angela. Okay,
Hi.
I'm gonna mute myself.
Great. I really appreciate you guys. And so when we think of praise, it's really a stimulant, and it's to raise our vibration. And prayer, praise, all of that raises our vibration. And by raising our vibration and to assuming the feeling as if you've already received something that you want, then that is the secret to the law of increase. It magnetizes all the good around you, so that it can transform that good into usable, visible substance. And there's some other things too that I've been studying. I'm going to turn you on to a few video clips tonight as just a special treat of some research I've been doing. And what you'll find is the more and more we dig into universal laws of quantum energy and physics, that you'll see these same laws being repeated over and over and over. And it can go all the way back to ancient times, to to whether you're in Tibet or Egypt, to the monasteries. It doesn't really matter, all the way into modern times, into quantum energy healing, magnetic, electrical healing. It's the same laws, and that's what's exciting. So a few minutes ago, I was talking about how when we ask for something and we start in this place where we're crying and we're pleading and praying tearfully for something, what's interesting is how the master, and this is on the page about a woman that was crying bitterly and praying tearfully to God for something, and the master, hearing her, silenced and asked, "Is your God a God of tears, of grief and anguish and pain?" No, God is a giver of joy and peace and happiness and love. You want peace and joy, yet you pray to your Father with tears. If you want black, do you ask for white? If you ask for a fish, do you expect a serpent? If you ask for bread, do you expect a stone? You can only get what you expect, for the unchanging law is ever working to supply you. Prayer should not be one of supplication, pleading, begging, entreating, a sad state. It should be one of claiming, declaring, decreeing, praising, and a joyful thanksgiving. That is very powerful to remember, because so many times I still will catch myself going into this prayer of begging. It's not really begging, but it's like I've asked. I'm like, why do I keep asking? It's already on its way. It's already received. It is. Where's the excitement, the feeling that is here? That's my job. That's my job to raise my vibration, to lift up and truly practice what I preach. If I'm preaching in prayer, asking in prayer, then shouldn't I be celebrating instead because I already know it's coming? Anybody have any thoughts on that? And if not, that's okay. I know a lot of you are calling in and you might be muted out. Hey, Vera, do you have any comments you want to make?
Hi, I just got in, so I am. Hi everyone, I'm so excited you hear me. Yeah. Well, I just logged in, so I am trying to hear what you got to say. But yeah, I totally agree that sometimes we forget that we begging, instead of being grateful.
That's right. And the more that we catch ourselves in doing that, and we go into a state of kind of begging, asking, yearning, all those things are good because it's that thought, right? It's that desire that comes into the heart. It's that intention that you're sending out, and then just truly getting to some very clear clarity about that. And then once you've got the emotion that marries up to the thoughts and you've got that feeling, then you've created the emotion. It's that emotion that is powerful. And it's through the emotion and through the praise now of what you know is coming to you without a shadow of a doubt, just like, moving that mountain, just like that faith the size of a mustard seed. That praise is an avenue of prayer through which the spirit law expresses itself. Praise is a broad highway, and while all other forms are only feeding arteries. So praise is the major highway. That is where we want to go to. And so I got thinking about, all the areas, and of course the book touched on this a little bit. Some of the areas that we give praise to is animals. If a dog rolls over or sits, we're like, good boy, and we just praise it, and it's like so happy, and we praise it. And so praise is a good thing to the human psyche. It's good when we praise our children. And for those of you who have children or pets, I'm sure that you have practiced this, and I've seen it at work. And how many times have you helped someone who may be a little bit down and out, and you recognize the power of praising them first? Praising them first, lifting up their spirits, and just giving them credit. A lot of us are health and wellness coaches, and so many times, we are in that situation where we're spiritually administering to people and letting them know how worthy that they are, what a blessing it is to have them with us, what a blessing it is that they've made this decision, that they've ordered. And I know sometimes we can get so right into the coaching of using the products and whether they should do a 2-day fast and whether the chocolate's better than the vanilla and all these kind of things, and we can get really caught up in that minutia. And how many times have folks really tried something and they just didn't maybe like it, or they were struggling a little bit, or they were scared, lived in some fear to get out of their comfort zone, and we're just beating them up a little bit unintentionally. We don't mean that, but maybe they're hearing it that way and remembering to offer praise and to start celebrating the end goal. So I kind of had an aha moment there. But wouldn't it be nice if I just start celebrating the end goal? So that while they're focused on the struggle, that I just praise them for the actions they took, praise them for the fact they're on the phone with me, and praise them for where they're going to be in 30 days, where they're going to be in 60 days, where they're going to be tomorrow, where they're going to be a week from now, and focus on celebrating that. Is that an aha moment or what? So it talks about also on page 94, for those who have the same version of the book that I do, but it's the paragraph again that talks about have you ever had someone to condemn or criticize your efforts? And you felt like just kind of folding up, like, well, gosh, screw that. If that's how they feel, I don't even care to try harder. All I do is I get beat up for everything that I do. And you did your best, and you're like, shoot, I'm just not even going to try anymore because I really don't appreciate the way they treated me. And have you all had situations at some point in your life where you felt that way? Because I know I have. And when I feel like, well, I really tried my best, I can be wounded pretty easy. And I'm learning that, no, I'm not a victim at all, and that there is no wounding at all, and that any sense of condemnation or criticism is just where I have gotten out of alignment, and I deserve to get back into a state of praise and praise for that higher good and that thing that where my interest becomes greater, and my happiness to bring about what it is that I seek, and to give praise regardless for everything, and to know that everything is working for my good, everything. And because we cannot be contracting our thoughts through fear, criticism, and complaint. If we are, then we reflect that contraction, and our results are delayed. So I thought that was also an interesting point. Now, did anybody enjoy that paragraph about how it's been proven that a failing business can be praised into success? How about the man whose car developed a clicking noise out in the middle of nowhere, so he just praised it until he got into his driveway, only to find out he had a broken axle, and at that moment, the moment afterwards that he got home, and he just praised it all the way there, and he drove some 30 more miles, rolled into his driveway safely, and it never did move again. It had to be towed, but he praised it, and it got him home. And the lady with the rug, she just really desired a new rug, a brand new carpet. The one she had was weary. They were just like tired of looking at it. And so she decided to use the praise method. So she was speaking kindly to the old rug. Now, that may sound like it's some crazy stuff, but I believe it. I'm sure you guys do too. And then within days, she got word that a brand new carpet was being delivered from Colorado, and then she received 3 smaller rugs. It's like rugs were just showing up out of everywhere. And then her husband liked a new floor covering, decided they needed new furniture, and so there it goes. So the law works without discrimination, and it could work in anything big or anything small. And another point that I enjoyed was that though praise is good for other persons and things, it is our salvation too. So remember to praise yourself. Remember to praise how far you've come. Remember to look in the mirror and give yourself that love, and look in your eyes and go, wow, Vera, you've come a long way. Angela, look where you are. Chris, look at all of the amazing things that are happening in your life because you've been giving praise, because you have no fear, because you have faith, because you're stepping out in faith. And so that law of increase is just being mirrored right back to you because of all the praiseworthy thoughts that you can send yourself as well. Another point that is important is, and if anybody's writing, you might want to write this down, but if you're driving, just kind of take this to heart, that praise with the heart is far more vital and effectual than praise with the head or praise from the lips. Because that in and of itself does not influence God, just as it doesn't influence people when it's superficial. And people know, they can feel the vibration associated with praise that's from the lips and praise that's from the head, or praise that's just obligatory praise versus praise from the heart, which is a very high vibration. Praise is not intended for God. is that it is intended only for man and is an aid to enable man to lift himself upwards to become attuned with the law or God, whatever you want to call it. It raises our state of consciousness. I think it's important when we read this book to sometimes plug in the word my. So praise raises my state of consciousness, that I may become more receptive to the good about me and lifts me above the lack of it. So just now I substituted the word me and my and I instead of him and man and his. Praise raises my vibration. It speeds up my activity. It stimulates my faith and contacts a higher realm of thought. So a video I was just watching earlier today, and I might queue up this section too, but there's a couple more that are a little bit longer, and I want to get those in first. It was talking about some studies that were done where they actually tested the magnetic and electrical frequency of the heart and the brain, and they did some tests where they had, you know, so many people in a room, like 1,000 people in a room, hold hands and all give praise to the same thought of being tested through this electrical system of testing, and you could see the frequency rise on the charts. And this was this live test, and had them all think of something feeling from the heart, and they explained that, and then they gave a mathematical equation, and it's all much like Einstein kind of physics, and then he was taking numbers and he was doing the square root and so forth. But basically the gist of that whole section, which was really technical, boiled down to this, that if there were 1 million people, it would only take 1,000 to change the collective heart and shift in consciousness of 1 million people. It would only take 1,000 people. If there's 1,000 people in the room, it would only take 100 people. So they even tested the power of all of us coming together in unity, and how we can truly have such increase in every area. And if the increase that we are seeking is peace, if the increase we're seeking is money, if the increase we're seeking is whatever, that when we come together in harmonic or a harmonious vibration, all wanting the same thing and raising that frequency, that's pretty powerful. And while that is a practice too that I talked about from, you know, the Israelites all the way to Thanksgiving, except kind of what happened is over time, Thanksgiving started to be about being thankful for things in the past, a little bit about thankful today for things in the future. But so many of us have gotten into a rut where we want our pay in advance. And then once we get something, we're like, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, so just then that feeling, you know, when something shows up like, oh my God, I just got this, and oh, this came in the mail today. And it was a surprise. And I thought they might send it, but I wasn't sure. And here it is. And oh, yay. And you're jumping up and down. So we truly deserve to have that same feeling before it ever shows up. And that's what this whole chapter is about. And praise is the way that we do that. Praise is saying that, you know, we're not waiting until our barns are full, because it says anyone can be grateful with the gift already in hand. How true is that? So if conditions are bad, or harvest is lean, or trouble besets us, we're apt to forget to praise. And we storm at our failures, and a lot of times we blame God. So another key point then that just kind of summarized that, if anybody's writing anything down, is that praise is the magic. It's the magic lamp. Praise is. So the book started out talking about Aladdin, magic lamp, and the genie coming out, and how beautiful and magical that all seems. Well, we have that. It's praise. It's praise. And our degree of faith in the law and God is measured before we receive, not afterwards. And regardless what anybody might believe or not believe about Jesus, I really like, I mean, there's Jesus the teacher, Jesus the person, Jesus the religion, and but truly, the teachings are just so perfectly working with the law. So what things soever you desire when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you will have them. Praise is this belief in action, and that action is in the present tense. It is in the now. Now, now, now. And that's where I want to show you this video, if I can get it queued up. So you guys just bear with me. Now, I know a lot of you are driving, and you cannot hear this. I mean, you cannot see this, but you'll be able to hear it. And when you do go back to listen to the recording, just skip on over to this part, because it's so powerful that I'm going to spend about 10 minutes showing you a miracle happen live on film with this recording.
But does it help to understand? Can you see how a feeling in your heart has an effect on the world beyond your heart? Can you begin to see that? Does that make sense? So what is happening when we have a feeling in our hearts? We're creating electrical and magnetic waves inside of our bodies that extend beyond our bodies into the world around us. And what's so interesting is the research shows that those waves extend not just 1 meter or 2 meters, many, many kilometers beyond where our heart physically resides. So right now in this room is having an effect on Italy beyond this building, beyond these walls. And you'll see this afternoon, when many, many people get together with one feeling, many hearts come together and create one feeling, it can change the world, and you'll see just how much. But it's only a miracle until we understand the science. Then it's no longer a miracle, it becomes a technology, a powerful internal technology. So this film was created in a medicinaless hospital in Beijing, China. Medicinaless hospital, no medicine hospital. I like that hospital. This film shows a woman who has been diagnosed with a cancer in her bladder, a 3-inch diameter cancer in her bladder, and Western doctors say they can do nothing. They say, we can't help you. So she has gone to a clinic in China where they think differently, and they apply the technology from the ancient wisdom that is the same as the science that we just saw. So what you will see is this. There are 3 practitioners, 3 people trained to feel just the right feeling, the precise, correct feeling in their hearts. They create the feeling as if the woman is already healed. They create the feeling as if the woman is already healed. Now, we will look inside of her body through a sonogram, through ultrasound. We can look into her body and we can watch her cancer disappear in 3 minutes in the presence of the language that heals. Does that make sense? Are you okay with that? Does that make sense? Would you like to see that? Okay, good. So what you will see is the woman is awake, she is conscious, she has no anesthetic, She believes in the process. She believes in what is happening. And there are 3 practitioners who are trained to create the feeling in their bodies as if the woman is already healed. And then on the computer screen, we will see 2 images. One image is before the healing, and one image is actual time, real time, so we can see the healing happen. And while the healing is happening, you will hear the practitioners chant a word. And I want you to know there is no magic in the word. It could be any word. But this word is the word that they have chosen that reinforces for them, that tells them the feeling. So they agreed that this is the word that would create the feeling for them. But it could be any word. I want you to know that. So I'm explaining this now, and we'll explain it again as we go through the film.
Over 8 years, the center has successfully treated more than 180 types of illnesses, including bladder cancer.
看到没有？就是在那个膀胱，三角球的左侧有和一个压壶，这么一个。发气，这里也是，咱们一块就应该发气。
Okay, so for those who are driving and listening in, just bear with this because they're going to go into a chant. And this chant is the same as prayer. This chant is the same as praise. And as they move into this, even though you cannot see the footage, you'll be able to see this in the recording. It is powerful, so I'm going to keep playing. And just bear with it because he will explain this praise aspect, which is what this chapter is talking about. Are you guys good with that? Okay, so here we go. They're starting the chant now.
She's awake. She's conscious. There are 3 practitioners behind her. And here is the tumor, right here. The black is the emptiness of her bladder. This is the tumor. And now they take a snapshot for reference, a snapshot now. Okay, this is the real time. So this is now reference. This is actual time. Okay. This is 2 minutes, 40 seconds. 2 minutes, 40 seconds. This, on the left-hand side, is the reference tumor. On the right-hand side, the tumor is gone. In the Western way of thinking, modern science says this is a miracle because they do not understand the field that connects everything, and they do not understand the language that speaks to that field. Once we understand, that is no longer a miracle, that is a technology. You listen to the chant. Sa, 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 sa. Okay, the word that they are using, wasa, wasa, loosely translated, means already happened. It's already done. In their mind and in their heart, they're coming from the place that the healing has already happened.
Whoa, did y'all hear that? Woo! Is that something to get excited about? They're coming, right? They're coming from the place the healing's already happened.
Incredible.
So keep on listening. It's fun.
Not that it's going to happen, and not that it's about to happen, or that it's a long, slow happening, that it has already happened. And this is important because the field of energy that we're about to discuss is a mirror. A mirror, it reflects our feeling of what we are experiencing in the moment. So if our belief is that our healing is about to happen, or that our perfect relationship will come to us someday, or that our abundance in the bank will happen someday, the field will keep reflecting someday, someday, because it is open-ended. There is no outcome. There is no conclusion.
Wow. Hello. This is so amazing. Some of the work that I'm doing and studying, and Chris knows I'm preparing for also Follow Your Bliss retreat and speaking, and just been in a place of seeking. And so what now is coming to me is all bringing everything together. And I've watched this video of Greg Braden a million times, and I can't get enough of it. But this really did drive home this whole point of this chapter.
This is a very subtle, very powerful understanding of how this field works. This field that we're about to discuss now, the divine matrix, is a field that mirrors now, not in the future, not in the past, this moment. So what we choose to experience in our lives, we must first feel in our hearts as if it has already happened.
And that is the essence of giving praise. Pretty cool, huh? Any other comments so far on that?
Yeah, I want to say that this is amazing because like before like even the religion, religious churches, whatever, they say that it's miracles, which is actually not, because it is a technology.
That's right. And I love how science and quantum energy and physics is now bringing it all together to explain the galaxies and the power and the universal law and this field of energy. And I love that now you go back and you look at all the prophets and the what some people call the mystics and the spiritualists and Jesus, but they were all saying the same thing. And that's why Jesus would say, he said that what he did we could do. There are no exceptions with the law. And remember, they always like to use Jesus as an example. He was the healer, and he performed miracles, and he kept saying, no, what is in me is in you. And this is just such a beautiful scientific, it's everywhere now. It's everywhere now that we've become more and more aware. It's all out there. There is no secret. The miracles are truly happening in this moment, in the now, us giving praise for what we want and getting excited. Has anybody ever gone to a Tony Robbins event where Tony Robbins is on stage? Well, Tony Robbins is really a master at raising the vibration of the room. And I had the good fortune of attending a Tony Robbins event. It was a Tony Robbins, Eric Worre, Bob Proctor, Robert Kiyosaki. It was truly an amazing, prolific event. And when Tony took the stage, he had us all raise our vibration and stand up and get excited about something. And then he's like, and after everybody was all excited and jumping up and down, he's like, is that the best you got? Seriously, can you times 10 that? So then we all went crazy. We're running around the room, jumping up and down. The whole building was shaking. You know, everything was shaking, and it went on and on and on and on. And we were exhausted. And then he goes, that's it? And he kept making it get crazier and crazier. And that's when it was hilarious. And that's when we got it. And that's the level of celebration that we want to be doing. So praise is faith in action. It's faith in action. And that when you learn to take what you have and build upon it, not with scorn and condemnation, but with praise and gratitude, you're working the law, and the law will give the increase. It will give the increase. Praise God that good is everywhere. Good is everywhere. What a fun, very short but powerful chapter of the law of increase, because I believe that's where so many of us are, is we're working with all the other laws, but Bob Proctor calls this as one of the forgotten laws. One of the most important laws is the law of increase, and that is the law of praise. Some of you saw the picture that I posted today with Bob Proctor. So there's another piece of this video, if I can cue it up. I actually trying to remember, hold on, where it was that I saw this, what section, but let me find this, and this will be a little bit easier for you guys to.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I know you're going to get to your video in a second, but
Whoops.
have you ever asked yourself
There's
why?
those fun ads. Okay, so it's right here. It's at 3 hours and 8 minutes. This is a very long seminar that Greg Braden did. So let me cue this up. Give me 1 second. You guys good with that? Okay, so I think it starts at about 3:08. So somewhere right about here.
(106), translated from the Nag Hammadi Library. If you do not have a copy, it's in our books, and you can go to any library and pick this up. Verse 106. Look at what the Lost Gospel of Thomas says. It says, when you make the two, thought and emotion, one. So the Gospel of Thomas is talking about thought and emotion. It's saying when you make your thought and your emotion one, look at what happens. You will say to the mountain, mountain, move away, and the mountain will move away. It's saying that when you can marry your thought and your emotion into one single potent force, that is when you have the power to speak to the world. The tumor that disappeared in the woman this morning, that is an example. When those practitioners had the thought of the woman being healed, and the feeling and the emotions were all one. The mountain moved, the tumor disappeared. Okay, so this is one place. Now, secondly, when you make the two one, what are they talking about? What are the two? Let's go back to our image. The two, thought and emotion. When the two become one in our hearts, we create the feelings in our bodies. When thought and emotion become one, you'll see how to do that in just a minute. Let's go back to the Gospel of Thomas, another verse. Now this is verse 48. It says almost the same thing. This was so important that it was recorded at least 3 different times in the same gospel. Look at what this says. If the two make peace with each other in this one house. When Jesus is talking about the house or the temple, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? Precisely you. You are the house. You are the temple. If the two make peace with each other in this house, if thought and emotion become one, if they make peace with each other in this house, look what happens. They will say to the mountain, move away, and it will move away. He's telling us again, in a completely different verse, how powerful it is to marry thought and emotion. But they still haven't told us how. How do you do this? That's the next piece. In the early Christian Bible, your Bible today, there is a passage. How many have heard, ask and ye shall receive? Have you heard that before? Ask and you shall receive. Have you heard that? I know people that ask and ask and ask and nothing happens. Because the asking is not done with the voice. The asking is not done, please, please bring this to my world. That's not asking. To ask, we must speak to the field, to the divine matrix in the language that the field recognizes. In a language that's meaningful, the field doesn't recognize our voice, it recognizes the power of our heart.
The power of our heart. There's our clue right there.
Remember this morning, our heart, we have a feeling, creates electrical waves, magnetic waves. That's the language the field recognizes.
So the science recognizes electrical magnetic waves. And that is the brain activity and the heart activity, which is measured now by science. And the heart is actually 100 times more powerful as a magnetic field. It's very fascinating what he's pointing out.
So when you create the feeling in your heart as if your prayer is already answered, that creates the electrical and the magnetic waves that bring that answer to you. And you're going to see this in just a moment. Ask and ye shall receive. While we still have this passage in our text, in the Bible that you have today, the King James Version, John 16, 23, 24, what you have is the condensed version. You have the edited version. The edited version looks like this. This is the edited version. Whatsoever ye ask the Father in my name, he will give it to you. Hitherto have ye asked nothing in my name. Okay? Ask and ye shall receive, that your joy may be full. Okay, this is the edited version. This is so amazing to me because they took out the 2 sentences that tell us how to ask. In the 4th century, when the edits happened, they took those 2 sentences out. Would you like to see those 2 original sentences? Okay, we'll go back into the original Aramaic and we'll look at a new translation. This is the original Aramaic. it begins, it looks very similar. So this is the retranslated version with the missing pieces. All things that you ask straightly, directly from inside my name, you will be given. It says, so far you've not done this, because if we ask with our voice, we have not done this. Now here's the piece that was edited. Here is what was lost. Look at these two very powerful sentences. Ask without hidden motive and be surrounded by your answer. Be enveloped by what you desire, that your gladness be full. Look at what it's saying. It's not saying to speak a word. It's saying to be surrounded, to feel as if. If you are surrounded, you are feeling as if your answer has already happened. Be enveloped. If you want the perfect relationship in your life, if you want the healing in the body of your loved ones, feel the feeling of what it is like as if that has already happened. Be enveloped by what you desire, because that is when your thought and your emotion become one. You think the thought of the healing in your loved ones, and you feel the love of that thought. They become one, and that is the language that this field recognizes. Does that make sense? Are you okay with that?
So guys, thank you so much for letting me share this tonight. This is just something that like I said, I discovered that, man, it just meshed so well with everything that we're learning. And when you're dealing with truth and you're dealing with the laws of the universe, you'll find all the material all starts to say the same thing. And whether it's from the ancient monasteries to the rewritten Bible to just various beliefs of all religions, somewhere you're going to find these laws in some form or fashion that all might have been tweaked a little bit. But the science is now starting to prove out the spiritual side of things. That's what's exciting to me, is that there's scientists. Now, he's a scientist. He's a very well-known scientist. And what is he up here talking about? He's talking about feelings and heart and emotion, and most people would go, that's pretty significant right there, that a scientist of his magnitude is bringing all of this together. So that's what I had for tonight, the law of increase. Y'all just keep praising. And like I was saying earlier, I had kind of a negative event, or so I thought. I viewed it negatively this past week in my life, and then today I just had this incredible breakthrough that why am I not praising it? Why am I not praising it? What if, because of this thing that happened to me this week, that what I have been getting excited about was jumping up and down. I've been doing that. I was praising, and then bam, this thing happened. And how did I know that's not part of it? Why did I stop praising? Just because I viewed it as negative at that moment. And I was on the phone with Casey Clough, and she and I just had a great conversation, and I just got back to praising again. And my whole vibration is lifted, and I feel absolutely like a completely different woman. I was very excited about this call tonight, and just know that every day that you put this into action, you truly can create this life that you so dream about. So that's what I have. Anybody else want to say anything? Just unmute yourself.
Yes, I want to say that it was really powerful. Absolutely. I mean, as for us, as a new generation, or they call it new age, whatever they call it. So yes, that for us is very useful, helpful, and that's what we should try to do to live our lives, right? So I mean, I try to practice it every single day. I mean, you know. Thank you so much, Belinda, that you are here and you hosted all this. I am very excited for it, you know. And it's so great to be in the tribe, that the people who can meet up and understand what we're talking about.
I love it.
I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful for you guys. When I logged in, it was a little after was 7 and nobody's there, and a 7:01, 2, 3. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to celebrate that I'm here. I'm going to celebrate this beautiful material. I can't wait to record. And then Angela popped in, and Chris was messaging me, and then you came, and I was like, oh my goodness. So the fact that I just kept praiseworthiness going forward in myself, praising myself, that I showed up, I was going to do it regardless, record it by myself. And what a powerful message tonight. And thank you all so much. Angela or Chris, anybody else want to comment before we sign off? Okay, great. Chris, were you able to hear some of that, Chris? I know you're driving. Okay, so Chris may be having some cell phone connection issues, but I'm just excited for everybody. If you want to go back and review the recording, I'll have that posted shortly. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And our next chapter is chapter 7, and that is the law of compensation.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo! That one is going to be a lot of fun as well. And if anybody wants to co-host, feel free to let me know. It's not that long of a chapter. They're all pretty short chapters. If not, I'm just always happy to host, co-host, whatever. Just love your input. Love that you show up. It doesn't matter any level of play. I'm just grateful for you all. You guys have a great evening. Again, I'm Belinda Foster. I'm showing up as Casey Clough because I've signed in using her Zoom, but it is March 28th, and that concludes the law of increase, and that was chapter 6, and we will see you guys next Monday. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.